Intellectual connection is the quiet foundation of deep and lasting attraction. A mature woman is not first moved by appearance, status, or rehearsed charm. What captures her attention is mental presence, the ability to think, to reflect, to communicate with clarity and purpose. She has grown beyond surface level excitement. She seeks stimulation that awakens curiosity, not just emotion. When her mind is engaged, something powerful begins to unfold. Respect is born in conversation. Admiration grows in thoughtful exchange. It is not about speaking more, it is about speaking with substance. A mature woman listens closely to how ideas are expressed. She notices whether conversations carry depth or simply noise. She feels the difference between someone waiting to talk and someone eager to understand. Intellectual connection means valuing her perspective even when it differs. It means asking questions that invite insight rather than seeking validation. It means appreciating her experiences, her lessons, and the wisdom she has gathered over time. When her thoughts are treated as important, she feels important. When her intelligence is acknowledged, she feels seen beyond the surface. Education and awareness play a vital role here. A curious mind is attractive because it signals growth. Growth signals stability. Stability builds trust. And trust is the soil where genuine connection takes root. A mature woman is drawn to conversations that challenge her, gently inspire reflection, and encourage evolution. She does not want to be impressed by volume, she wants to be inspired by vision. Meaningful dialogue creates emotional anticipation. When discussions leave her thinking long after they end, the connection deepens naturally. Intellectual chemistry is subtle but powerful. It transforms simple interaction into memorable exchange. True attraction at a mature level begins not with physical proximity but with mental alignment. When ideas flow effortlessly, when values resonate, when curiosity is mutual, admiration forms without force. The mind becomes the first bridge. And once that bridge is built, every other connection feels stronger, safer, and more authentic. Emotional safety is the invisible force behind every meaningful connection. A mature woman does not open up simply because attention is given. She opens up because she feels secure. Security does not come from promises or dramatic gestures. It comes from consistency, respect, and genuine presence. Presence means being fully attentive, not distracted, not half listening, not waiting for a turn to speak. It means absorbing her words, noticing her tone, understanding the emotions behind what is being shared. When she feels truly heard, something within her relaxes. Guarded energy softens. Defenses lower naturally, not because they are pressured to fall, but because they no longer feel necessary. Respect is equally powerful. Respecting her time, her boundaries, her pace, and her individuality sends a clear message. She is valued as a person, not pursued as a prize. A mature woman observes patterns more than promises. She watches for emotional steadiness. She senses whether reactions are patient or reactive, whether communication is calm or chaotic. Emotional maturity recognizes emotional maturity. Empathy plays a crucial role in building safety. To understand her experiences without minimizing them, to acknowledge her feelings without trying to control them, this creates trust. Trust grows when she sees that vulnerability will not be used against her. It grows when conversations remain confidential, when disagreements remain respectful, and when emotions are handled with care rather than criticism. Patience is another silent builder of security. A mature woman does not rush connection because she understands its value. She appreciates when space is honored and timing is respected. When she feels no pressure to perform, impress, or rush intimacy, authenticity emerges naturally. Emotional safety transforms interaction into connection. It allows honesty without fear. It allows depth without hesitation. And once safety is established, vulnerability becomes a gift willingly shared, not something cautiously guarded. In that safe space, true closeness begins to flourish, strong, steady, and real. With maturity comes a powerful shift in priorities. What once seemed impressive begins to feel ordinary. Surface-level charm, rehearsed compliments, and predictable conversations lose their impact. A mature woman no longer seeks excitement that fades quickly. She seeks depth that lingers. She is drawn to substance, to conversations that explore purpose, values, lessons, and growth. Depth is revealed in the quality of questions asked. It is shown in the willingness to discuss dreams, fears, beliefs, and life experiences without turning everything into a performance. When interaction moves beyond small talk and touches meaningful themes, connection becomes memorable. A mature woman appreciates dialogue that stretches the mind and nourishes the spirit. Superficial interactions often focus on appearances and temporary thrills. Depth focuses on character and long-term alignment. It invites authenticity instead of perfection. It values honesty over image. When someone speaks with sincerity, shares personal growth, and reflects on life with awareness, it creates a sense of resonance. Resonance is rare and rarity is powerful. Purpose-driven conversations also reveal emotional intelligence. They show that there is thought behind words and intention behind actions. A mature woman notices whether someone can speak about failure without blame, success without arrogance, and ambition without ego. Depth carries humility. It acknowledges imperfection while striving for progress. Shared values form the backbone of lasting connection. When principles align integrity, respect, responsibility, vision, a bond forms that goes beyond attraction. It becomes partnership in thought and outlook. Even differences can be enriching when approached with openness and curiosity rather than defensiveness. Depth does not require constant seriousness. It allows laughter, playfulness, and lightness. But even humor carries awareness and kindness. Nothing feels forced. Nothing feels shallow. Everything feels intentional. In a world where quick impressions dominate, choosing depth is courageous. It requires patience and authenticity. Yet for a mature woman, depth is not optional, it is essential. Because what touches her most is not what sparkles briefly, but what remains meaningful long after the conversation ends. Meaningful connection follows a natural order, and maturity understands the importance of sequence. When this order is respected, relationships unfold with stability and authenticity. When it is rushed or reversed, connection often feels fragile and uncertain. A mature woman values progression not because she is distant, but because she understands the power of building something that lasts. Everything begins with the mind. When intellectual engagement comes first, it creates clarity. Thoughts are exchanged. Perspectives are explored. Curiosity is awakened. This stage forms the blueprint of connection. It reveals compatibility in values, communication style, and emotional awareness. Without this foundation, everything else rests on unstable ground. From mental connection grows emotional alignment. When conversations feel safe and stimulating, trust begins to develop. Trust invites vulnerability. Vulnerability deepens emotional intimacy. A mature woman opens her heart not because she is persuaded, but because she feels understood. Emotional connection formed after intellectual respect feels organic, not forced. It carries confidence instead of doubt. Only after the mind and heart align does physical closeness feel meaningful rather than temporary. When emotional depth supports physical expression, it strengthens the bond instead of replacing it. There is comfort instead of confusion, warmth instead of worry. The connection feels balanced because it was built with intention. Understanding sequence requires patience and emotional intelligence. It requires the discipline to focus on long-term depth rather than short-term excitement. A mature woman recognizes when someone values process over impulse. That awareness builds admiration. When the mind is honored first, the heart follows willingly. When the heart is secure, everything else flows naturally. There is no need for pressure, no rush to prove anything. The relationship grows step by step, each layer reinforcing the one before it. This order transforms connection from temporary attraction into lasting alignment. It turns interaction into partnership. And in that natural progression, authenticity thrives, trust strengthens, and the bond becomes not only deeper but enduring. True connection at a mature level is never accidental. It is intentional, layered, and built with awareness. When intellectual respect comes first, emotional safety follows. When emotional safety is established, depth replaces superficiality. And when depth is honored through the right sequence, connection becomes powerful rather than temporary. A mature woman does not seek to be impressed quickly, she seeks to be understood deeply. She values conversations that awaken thought, presence that builds trust, and patience that respects timing. She recognizes the difference between attention and intention. Attention is common, intention is rare. When the mind is engaged, admiration begins. When emotions feel secure, vulnerability becomes natural. When vulnerability is protected, closeness feels authentic instead of fragile. This progression is not complicated, but it requires emotional intelligence, consistency, and self-awareness. Depth over surface, respect over rush, alignment over impulse. The greatest connections are not built through pressure or performance. They are built through understanding, presence, and meaningful dialogue. When someone chooses to honor the natural order, mind first, heart second, everything else in its rightful place, the bond that forms is steady, confident, and lasting. And that is the quiet truth. Maturity does not chase intensity. It chooses alignment. It does not seek noise. It values resonance. When connection is built with thoughtfulness and respect, it becomes not just attraction, but transformation.